Once upon a time, there used to be two young kids. One is 10 years old, another one is 7 years old. So 10 years old is very hefty boy and 7 years old is small relatively and very lean. And both of them, they went into the nearby forest where they wanted to play and spend some time. So while playing, the elder one falls accidentally into a well, a dried up well, and he couldn't get out of the well. So the younger kid don't know what to do. So the older boy, elder one, asked the younger one to look for some kind of rope, probably some kind of what do you say, a root or something like that. So finally, the younger one looks around and finds something, and he pulls out of the elder one out of the well. And while climbing up, this elder one has got all scratches all over his body. And when they went into the village, they narrated the story, and none of the villagers believed their story because they couldn't. I mean, this 10-year-old boy is like very hefty, and this one is very small, and he doesn't have strength to pull the boy out of the well. But there is one educated and learned man, an elder in the village, who believes in their story. And when confronted by the villagers, the elder says he is able to pull that boy out of the well because there is no one around him to say or to discourage him that he cannot pull that boy out of the well. So he believed in his strength and he thought he can pull him out, and he pulled out. Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Suresh, and I am your mentor for this 5-day training program on holistic diabetes reversal. Welcome to day 3, and today we are going to discuss one important topic, that is why we need reversal and not management. Okay, so a few years ago, the thought of reversing diabetes is not well accepted either in scientific community or amongst the patient or the doctor community or in general public as well. Okay, but times have changed, and the way information is being spread and the way people are becoming innovative and becoming more sensible paved the way to look diabetes in a different perspective, right? What if we look diabetes from a point of view, right, where it has all begun, and if we look into the root cause of the problem and we remove step by step all the causes of this manifestation of diabetes which led to manifestation of diabetes, if you work on them, right, instead of finding a solution that is pill, a pill is at best is managing, right? This we consider as solution, or any kind of medication. It could be pill or an injection like insulin, all this stuff. But people started looking into the cause of the cause. We don't know the cause, right? We are still exploring what exactly is resulting in manifestation of diabetes. People started looking into the cause of the cause, that is our lifestyle. So when people started believing in their ability to change and they become partners, unlike earlier approach where you go to a doctor with this particular condition and we dump our responsibility on the doctor, saying that now I paid you the fee, it is your responsibility to contain the disease, not the cure. So no doctor promises you the complete 100% cure with pills and insulin alone. Okay, and people refuse to take the responsibility of creating or being partner in developing or manifesting this particular disease. And now, since both doctors and the people who are experts in lifestyle management are working in tandem along with the patient who manifested the disease in himself or herself, and now the solution is a possibility. Now, just to recollect what we learned in our day 1 and day 2. Day 2, we discussed that how an an insulin which is supposed to control or keep in check the sugar levels in body, right? Sugar levels, it's supposed to manage the ups and downs in our blood. From there, because of our bad training, what has happened to insulin? It has become a fat making hormone. Okay, so why did it become a fat making hormone? Because we never paid sufficient attention or the required attention regarding our food. Times have changed, but our eating habits have not changed. In fact, they have become much worse, if I'm allowed to say that. So more and more energy dense foods we are consuming. We started consuming more and more refined foods we started consuming. Even when we are not hungry, we just eating for pleasure. So the demand and the supply, there was a mismatch. And similarly, because of this food, insulin has received what is known as some kind of bad training. Okay, I would say this as bad training. Every day, as we discussed, every day we have 4 options to make ourselves healthy by making appropriate choices about our food. But since our eating habits are at fault, insulin has predominantly become a fat making hormone. And on top of that, the kind of exercise, whether we choose to do or we don't choose to do, and with the kind of lifestyle and the amount of stress we are faced with, and the kind of social life we have and personal life, and all these things have changed this insulin's behavior, and it received bad training, and insulin has become something known as resistant. We call this as insulin resistance. Okay, but remember, it is a temporary phenomenon. Unless and otherwise we pay attention to this condition, it will finally lead into what is known as diabetes mellitus type 2, wherein there is nothing wrong with your pancreas, there is nothing wrong with the functioning of the insulin, but the production of insulin is down regulated, or the efficacy of the insulin is down regulated. Okay, so if a cell like this has got, let's say, if it were active, okay, if it were active, the insulin receptors which opens the gates are aplenty. If you look at kids and all youngsters, they have lot of these receptors, and insulin will come and attach to these receptors and open the gates. What happens then? The sugar, whatever the sugar that is there, or glucose that is there in the blood circulation, will come from the blood circulation into the cell to provide us energy. If kids are playing, jumping all the time, that means they are spending lot of energy. Growing older, we hardly do any kind of physical activity, we hardly move. Majority of the time, either we are stick ourselves to sedentary job, we are using our mind rather than our body, and even daily household chores, we consider them as menial jobs. We don't even we stopped washing our clothes, cleaning our house, dusting, mopping, none of the things, gardening, all these things have gone. So what happens? The demand by the cells, for example, let's say this is a muscle cell, the demand by the cell has come down, right? So this resulted in less manifestation of insulin receptors. So earlier there used to be, let's say, 20 receptors, now only 2, right? When there is no demand, what is the point of having this thing? This is called a bad training, right? But again, let me repeat this, it is a temporary phenomenon. And on top of that, what did we learn on day 1? That body is making itself fresh every day. It is making billions and billions of cells every day, every 24 hours. This whole body is in dynamic equilibrium. Every day new body is forming, right? That is regeneration, and old body is going out, which is called degeneration. So the body is in equilibrium, right? It is in equilibrium. We call this as dynamic equilibrium. And this management, which is not being observed by our conscious mind, is controlled by what is known as our subconscious mind. So the conscious mind, the decisions we take are very small compared to the body which makes subconsciously. Say for example, what is your pH right now in your blood? Do you know? You don't know. But the kidney knows, the lungs knows, and each and every cell in your body knows how to keep your blood pH at a constant level. Number of molecules are being moving in and out of the cells to keep your sodium, potassium, and everything. All this is being managed by our subconscious mind. And this subconscious mind responds not to the words but to our emotional state. As of now, how you are feeling? Are you happy with the kind of life you are living? Are you happy with the way things are happening around you? Are you happy with the kind of relationships you are enjoying with your loved ones, right? With the society at large, or with the world at large, right? That has got a significant say in the way a disease is manifested in our body. So you have your body, which is like being made every day afresh. For that, you need to give right kind of food, create right kind of demand by doing regular physical exercise, have to live in harmony with your lifestyle, and keep your stress level at check. So all these things are deciding what kind of body we need to have, either a healthy body or a sick body. Okay, and these foods are not the complete solution, but the person, what you are, who you are, is very, very important. The reason why we are unable to solve this diabetes crisis, which has become reached pandemic levels, right? Even younger kids are suffering with this particular pandemic these days, is because diabetes is not an acute condition. Diabetes is not an acute condition. That means, what is an acute condition? God forbid if you met with an accident, right, and broke one or the other limb, it is an emergency. You cannot say that, okay, I'll come and get my broken hand fixed maybe next month or next year, whenever I get some time, because I'm busy with my work. No, it's an emergency. You need to fix that. Otherwise, you will be handicapped for rest of your life. That is an emergency, and it is painful as well. And you are able to see it, right? The physical deformity or the physical injury is visible to you, and you can perceive the pain. But what about the insulin resistance that is developing? All the receptors, they earlier healthy body, they contain so many receptors, and here comes insulin and talks to them and opens the gate and gives the food. And now you have lost the healthy functioning receptors on your cell. Don't you think this is also a handicap? But we don't know what is happening to us, right? Because it is not painful. And being handicapped physiologically, not physically, physiologically, our body has become handicapped. But we are not aware of it. Body will sincerely follow your suggestions. The only way body responds, the kind of either hormones produced or the proteins or the enzymes or the metabolites that are produced, is driven by the kind of emotional state, and with each emotion the hormonal levels fluctuate. Say for example you received a very bad news about someone you love. I mean, they are in a hospital in ICU fighting for their life. I mean, God forbid that this is not the case, but you are there, right? And you see your loved one on the hospital bed, and at that moment, right, you are extremely anxious and stressful. If I draw the blood from your body, the sugars will be in the range of 250, 300. In some cases, it may go up to 400. Why? That means, are you a diabetic? No. At that particular condition, the kind of emotional stress you are going through, to provide you with all the energy, the body will pull up all the sugar and keep it ready. Right? If there is an emergency and you have to pay money, what you will do? You bring in all the fixed assets and convert it into liquid cash and make it available. Similarly, sugar is like that liquid cash. So the body will break all the fat and bring it and keep it ready. So in that moment, and till the crisis stops, or you come back to your emotional semblance, the sugar levels will be on a higher side. Got it? So once the crisis is over, again they come back. Okay, we don't require this much of sugar, so let's keep wherever they are supposed to be. This is how body responds moment to moment to our emotional profile. So if this is happening, we are not aware of it. But what is, so this is 1 day and 30 days or 100 days or 365 days or 5 years. So we are not paying attention to our lifestyle, our choices, but after 5 years, we face a consequence. The consequence of what? This person becomes fat, right? So all the fat that is accumulated in here, and if I see someone who is obese and they don't have still BP or arthritis or diabetes, sir, are you okay? They will say, yes, I did my medicals last year, I still don't have any diabetes or hypertension. But trust me, his ticket is either in waiting list or in RAC, right? Only thing is like getting confirmed. It could be tomorrow or a day after. Okay. Why am I saying this? Because insulin have started becoming resistant. So he is in something known as pre-diabetic condition or metabolic syndrome. It is also called X syndrome. His lipids have gone wrong and abdominal obesity increased, excess fat, right? From overweight to he has reached grade 1 or grade 2 obesity, and the knees start giving way. All these things are existing. That means this is a high risk case for developing diabetes mellitus type 2. But people are not worried. I mean, I'm a bit fat, little chubby. My nature of work is like this. I continuously sit in my air conditioned cabin and I tend to eat, I mean, because of stress, these colas, teas, coffees, pizzas, ice creams. So I have to beat this stress and this is my life. What can I do? Give me a pill. No, as I said, pill is not the answer. It is only to contain. Just because it has not given you the trouble yet, we are not taking seriously. And what we think, and I explained it earlier also, diagnostic tests are not prevention. Health insurance is not prevention. Lifestyle modification is the prevention. You have to do it. We brought this into our life and only we have to correct. If your doctor eats and you become healthy, wonderful. All the doctors are willing to happily eat for yourselves. And all the doctors or your dietitians are willing to go for walk on your behalf and you become healthy. That's wonderful. But things won't work like that. Okay. So unfortunately, you have to work on yourself. And since it is not painful and we are not in a position to acknowledge this physiological handicap, I told you very clearly that how powerful our body is and how intelligent that system is, right? Whatever instructions you give, just like a computer, whatever commands you give or whatever commands you type on your keyboard, the same thing we'll see on our monitor. Say for example, if you type I am A bad person. This is what you type on your keyboard. What do you think you will see on your monitor? The commands are going to your CPU, they get processed and they are represented graphically on your screen, right? So if you type, I am a bad person, will the monitor say, no, 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 don't feel bad about yourself. You are a very nice man. You are taking care of your family. You are making money and you are bringing food on the plate for your whole family and you are doing so many good works. Will you see the same thing on the computer monitor? No. Right? If you are seeing diabetes on your monitor, if you are seeing obesity on your monitor, if you are seeing lack of energy on your monitor, that means what? You have given these conditions unknowingly, right? So, why reversal? Whether it is pre-diabetes or diabetes. So, till now I discussed about the pre-diabetes condition. If you are not yet diabetic, but you are at risk of developing diabetes, it is high time that you take care of your diabetes. And most of the diabetes, why I am insisting on the reversal but not on management? Again, the same point, because none of the diabetic patients are experiencing physical pain and it is not an emergency. Most of them, they assume that by taking a pill, my diabetes problem is not creating any kind of inconvenience, but that's the wrong notion. And many people are of the opinion that, so these three salient clinical conditions like increased urination and increased thirst and increased hunger, people, they wait for these classic symptoms, right? Mind you, these are not symptoms of diabetes. There are no symptoms for diabetes. They are complications of diabetes. They are complications of diabetes. Why? When the sugar level in our blood vessel is increasing beyond a certain level, let's say these are glucose molecules and your blood vessel is filled with these glucose molecules completely, right? So all this blood has to go through something known as a filtering mechanism. What is that filtering mechanism? Our kidneys, right? And you have a ureter. So what happens here? The blood which is coming in to the kidney with all waste, all kinds of waste products like urea, nitrogenous waste, metabolic waste, all these things, when they come and they get filtered inside, and all of them are collected and goes out in the form of urine. All these things, they go out in the form of, all the waste products, they go out in the form of urine. And this blood, having cleared off all the metabolic waste, again goes back into the circulation. So this is the filter. Kidney is the filter. But kidney has got a particular limit. Okay? If the sugar level reaches a certain, certain level, crosses beyond a certain level, it cannot filter, right? So if the traffic is too heavy, beyond the capacity of kidney, what happens is some of the sugar molecules, these glucose molecules, they leak out through urine, right? And glucose is a hydrophilic substance, which means philic means in love. So it attracts water molecules. When it is moving out, it will draw the water that is there in the blood along with them. So that is the reason for this frequent or increased urination. When you are losing lot of water, your thirst center is activated and you feel like drinking lots and lots of water. And on top of that, what is the purpose of this particular glucose in our body? We discussed yesterday that the job of glucose is to provide energy to the cells. Energy to the cells. Now, since we don't have these glucose, these insulin hormones, which are supposed to be knocking on the door and open and take the glucose inside in sufficient numbers, because by this time insulin have received that whether we do our work or not, because none of the cells are active, there is no hurry, right? So instead of 10 insulins coming to the job, only one person will come to take care of this particular street. Got it? So it will leisurely go into each and every cell. And what if the 10th one in the line is feeling hungry, and it will immediately make a phone call to the brain. The hunger center is activated. Though the street is full of food, the cells are unable to utilize that particular food. Just like we are in the middle of the sea and it is full of water, but we are unable to drink it. Same is the case with our body. So though it is full and the cells are not receiving food in time because of insulin resistance, and that's the reason why we feel hungry. Don't wait till you have these classical features. They are not symptoms and they are complications. If you see any of these things, that means you are maintaining your sugar levels very poorly, very poorly. And your sugar has gone beyond and started damaging your internal organs. So there are microvascular, that means small vessel complications, and there are macrovascular complications. Microvascular and macrovascular complications, what happens? Microvascular complications, they lead to something known as neuropathy and retinopathy. That means eyesight gets disturbed, the small vessels, they get distorted or damaged, and the blood is not moving freely. Okay, and the same thing, the nerves, the vessels that are supplying the nerves, they are not the vessels, they get damaged, and the nerves, they lose their functionality. And bigger vessels like our carotid, cardiac, coronary arteries, they get damaged, which results in heart disease, hypertension, and rest of the complications. So to understand that, just we'll take a couple of minutes and conclude this particular lesson. Just to understand what exactly the mechanism is. So let's say we know that in our blood vessel there are something known as red blood cells which carry oxygen to all the cells, as well as we have something known as white blood cells as well. Okay, let's say this is one of the WBC. These WBCs, white blood cells, which are responsible for immunity in our body, what do they do? What do they do is, starting from home guard to the highest rank, Director General of Police, right? And like in military, you have different departments. So in internal security, like your local police. So there are like different types of WBC cells. Some are like they carry intelligence, they hold on to the intelligence. Some they go frontline and fight with bacteria, virus, and all this stuff. Some they do patrolling. Okay, some they have this border security force, which is like in your lungs as well as in your digestive system, because bacteria and virus and other microorganisms can enter into your system only either through your air or through your food. These are only the two inlets. So the lungs and the digestive system are like, they have strong border security force, courtesy our WBC. Now, if a bacteria, right? If a bacteria, let's say this is a bacteria, okay, the WBC, what it does is, it identifies a bacteria and it takes a weapon and tries to shoot this bacteria. Okay, tries to shoot this bacteria, and the bullet that it uses is called reactive oxygen species. In common we call it commonly as free radical or oxygen free radical. that is unstable oxygen atoms or molecules. Hydrogen peroxide and all these things, they come under hydroxyl ions. All these things, they come and they are utilized. So these reactive oxygen species, when the WBC attacks these cells, bacteria, they die, right? And this is how they protect. Okay. Now these reactive oxygen species are also, I mean, they are protective in nature, right? What if by the time it draws the gun and shoots this, and this one moves to this area, from here to here, right? The bullet is already released and it is going to hit what? Nothing, and it will go and hit the wall. So this is our blood vessel, and we have tile system which is made up of endothelial cells which are very protective in nature. So these oxygen free radicals, they may hit our own body and our own body may get damaged. For that, we have something known as a bulletproof protection in the form of another set of molecules which protect. They take the bullet but they don't die. If our cells take the bullet, they may die, they may get damaged, but if they hit by the free radicals, if we have certain nutrients in our body in large quantities, they will absorb the bullet and protect our body. So if this oxygen is reacting with, say for example, with iron, we have something known as iron oxide. Okay, iron plus oxygen reacts, forms iron oxide. Iron oxide in our common language is called rust. If you take an iron pipe, leave it in open air, the iron reacts with oxygen, forms rusting. The same process in our body also happens. But this oxidation is used by our WBC to kill certain microorganisms. But what if you have larger production of ROS, not from WBC, from other sources? And we don't have sufficient bulletproof jackets to protect our body. What happens? Our body gets something known as, into a state called rusting. It gets rusted from inside, and the prime reason for that is increased glucose levels in our blood. So as I said, glucose is highly reactive. It is acidic in nature. It turns our body into acidic environment, which is good for bacterial growth, by the way, right? And on top of that, this particular glucose, what it does is, it will start attacking all the things that are moving in our blood. What are all the things that are moving in our blood? There are proteins moving in, there are RBC moving in, right? There are so many enzymes, there are other hormones. So the glucose being the mischievous guy, because they are in large numbers, they will start interacting and disturbing the internal environment of our blood. Simple example, if there is an RBC, this is an RBC, and we have hemoglobin, this glucose will come and interact with this hemoglobin, and we call this as glycated hemoglobin. And we discussed in our first lesson itself that hemoglobin lives for 100 days. I mean, RBC lives for 100 days. And this alliance or this combination is not enzyme mediated, right? This is an illegal and an inappropriate combination. So it is making hemoglobin ineffective. Similarly, most of the, let's say LDL is moving in our blood. So the glucose will start attacking this LDL, and it will start reacting with other proteins and form something known as AGEPs, advanced glycated end products. See, let me summarize this. If the glucose is more, it is not being delivered to the cell, or not yet is going into go down stored as a fat. But if you have continuously high levels of sugar in your blood, the glucose, though you are not aware of it, what is happening inside is it is reacting and disturbing the internal environment in our blood, producing something known as advanced glycated end products. One of the commonest example that we measure is HbA1c. Okay, and these AGEPs are responsible for the release of further reactive oxygen species. Got it? And this leads to rusting of our body from inside. Okay, right? Increased glucose and changed internal environment in our blood, formation of certain products which releases these free radicals which are going to damage our internal organs. Say for example, the roads that are supplying blood to our heart, right? So this is a big tube and we have this covering strong tails which can protect for smooth flowing of blood. If the road is damaged for two conditions, because of uncontrolled sugar reactive species, and this road gets rusted, right? Lot of potholes and there is no smooth movement of traffic. These LDLs, they come and fall on this surface and traffic jam and traffic jam and traffic jam. Okay, now instead of this big road, all the blood has to move like this. If it is completely blocked, the blood flow is stopped. If it is stopped to heart, which is working 24/7. Let's say this is our four-walled heart, four-chambered heart, and we have, okay, this is one artery and this is another artery and this is another artery, three main roads, and here there is a block and the area supplied by this particular artery is not getting food and oxygen. What happens? The cells in this area die immediately and the heart is not 100% efficient. What do we call this condition as? Heart attack. Why did it happen? Look at the causes. Why did it happen? You are not cursed, right? You are not unfortunate, but reasons for it. Why there is a block? One, the roads are damaged. Why they are damaged? Two things: increased reactive oxygen species or increased oxidation, rusting of your blood vessels. Why did they happen? Because uncontrolled sugar in the blood, right? Second thing, we don't have enough protection in the form of, if oxidation is rusting, what prevents rusting? Antioxidation. That means antioxidant. Where do you get these antioxidants from? We get these antioxidants from the fruits and the vegetables. And our knowledge about diabetes is that we think that banana is bad for diabetics and mango is bad for diabetics, and we do 99% of the mistakes and we avoid those things which can actually protect us. We have problem with mango, but we don't have problem with eating an aloo samosa or eating potato chips. Okay, so they are more harmful. They are giving you more protein, the more refined carbohydrates and fats. But though they are fruits, they are full of sucrose and all. Sucrose will not increase your sugar level. Okay, for that matter, fructose will not increase your sugar level that much. But they also come with a lot of antioxidants. Why did this happen? This happened because the roads are damaged internally. Got it? So similarly, the nerves, if this is the fate of the big highway, what about small roads? If your government is not giving you sufficient funds even to manage the highways to the most important organ, how can it repair or give funds to repair the smallest of vessels? Say if you look at kidney, there are like small capillaries that are going, right? If the roads in your metropolitan city or the capital city of your state or country are not in a good position, can you expect the roads to be in a better condition in a remote village? No. So the traffic cannot go. That means if the traffic is not, the traffic cannot go there, or the vehicles are not able to go there, the villages, they die. The same thing is happening to the smallest vessels in our kidney, where the kidney fails. And you have to depend upon, when the kidney is unable to send the waste material, what is it called? Kidney failure, chronic renal failure, right? Who brought upon this particular condition unto themselves? Their ignorance, lack of awareness, not able to take the responsibility. Similarly, the smallest vessels in our retina, they are damaged, they got rusted, and they are not getting their nutrients, and we lose our vision. And similarly, the nerves, they are not getting, nerves themselves are very small, and the vessels that are supplying food, that are supplying, are still smaller, and they are not getting the food, and the nerve cells, they die, they cannot send the signals. And while you are walking on the road, if there is a scratch or if there is an injury, because we lost the sense, because the nerve fibers are cut, they are dead, we don't know that there is an injury, right? And it grows. And why there is an amputation? Why there is an amputation? If bacteria come into our body, right? Let us conclude this with this last one. Okay. This is a blood vessel, let's say in our feet, on our feet. And here, wherever you see, there are lots and lots of glucose molecules. Everywhere there are glucose molecules. Glucose is what? It gives us energy. Gives energy to what? The cells on either side of the blood vessel. And all these cells are there, they are single cells, right? The functional units. If a bacteria somehow finds its way, because of the injury, enters into this blood circulation, okay, and if this glucose is fuel for this cell, this glucose is also fuel for the single celled bacteria. Wherever you see, there is food available. What does bacteria, it will devour on this particular food and multiply rapidly. 1 becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, it gets multiplied rapidly, and our WBC is not strong enough. It cannot multiply that rapidly at the rate the bacteria is developing. So the WBC cannot fight this. On top of that, the road is rusted. You cannot get enough circulation, and it is not moving. But this is growing rapidly. That is the reason why the injuries, whatever wounds that diabetics contract, it is very difficult to heal. That is the reason why the doctors, they refuse to operate on diabetic patients, and unless and otherwise the sugar is in control, the chances of infection are very high. And by the time a person is having diabetic foot, that means the disease has progressed from worst to worst, right? And there is no way to salvage the health of the body but by sacrifice a particular limb. And there are more than 40,000 operations, amputations are happening in India alone, right? And all of them are preventable. That is why there is a wonderful saying, a stitch in time saves 9. So, if we take responsibility and understand our role in managing this disease, not by pill. You are taking pill for typhoid, malaria, tuberculosis. I consider people suffering with leprosy are more fortunate than people suffering with diabetes, because leprosy can be cured, tuberculosis can be cured. We know what to kill. You can kill leprosy bacteria, but diabetes, it is totally in our hands. And if we are suffering with these complications just because of our ignorance and not able to take responsibility, it is so unfortunate. We need not. Okay, wherever you are, at which stage you are, remember, in the first lesson itself I told you the amazing potential of a body. You can come back, you can rewrite the history, it is in your hands, right? You can always script the story. Yes, I am going to take responsibility for my health. I wanted to reverse this. If we do this on a consistent basis with the help of a professional who understands not only your human body, how does it function, but also understands the nutrition, your lifestyle, your stress, all these things, right? You take a proper guidance, right? Work with yourself, then it is quite possible. So a stitch in time always saves 9. Okay, so the most important thing here is taking the right step, right? Taking the right decision. Pills are controlling. I mean, they are creating a barrage, right? From where you are. It is creating a artificial obstruction to stop increasing the sugar levels, but it is not addressing the root cause. Okay, the root cause, as I said, is more important than the cause. There is no cause, there is only a root cause, and root cause is what? You are the root cause, whether you do it consciously or unconsciously, and nobody would consciously be willing to be a diabetic. If it happened in your case, and if you seriously want to get rid of this condition, the help is there always. Okay, so look into the root cause, work on yourself, make a wise decision, and you can regain your health. So this is it for today's class, and tomorrow we are going to discuss why we are unable to, when the whole science is available for us, why we are unable to, what are the mistakes that we are doing, and why we are unable to reverse this condition. That we'll discuss tomorrow on 4th day. And I mean, just it is occurring to my mind that one of the dohas, either I think it is by Bhartrhari or Kabir ki doha, I don't know, but it goes something like this: दुख में सुमिरन सब करे, सुख में करे ना कोई, जो सुख में सुमिरन करे तो दुख काहे होय. Okay, I hope you got the meaning. So everybody prays to God when they are in troubles, are they facing the tribulations, but they never pray to God, they never remember God when they are having good times. When you pray to God in your good times, there is a scope for bad times in your life. So similarly, as long as you are enjoying your health, right, try to protect it, try to respect it. That is the reason why there is a saying, health is the wealth. Thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow on day 4.